Hey, Lighthouse. Well, today is Good Friday. So instead of answering a question this Friday, I'd just like to read some scripture to you. I'd like to read you a passage from one of my favorite books. And then I'd like to encourage you to participate in some spiritual disciplines today. Skip a meal, have an hour of silence, do something today to discipline yourself, to remind yourself of the suffering of Christ, something small as an act of worship, so that you might celebrate the death of Christ appropriately. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our grief and carried our sorrow, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we're healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned, every one, towards his own way. And the Lord has laid upon him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, like a sheep that is before its shears is silent, so he opened not his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living, stricken for the transgressions of my people, and they made his grave with the wicked and with a rich man in his death, although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth. In his seminal work, The Mediator, Emil Brunner writes this: Jesus Christ is the heart of the gospel because in his person he unites the human and divine natures. This means the really human and the really divine, not in the way in which to some extent every human being does this. For so long as there is a trace of humanity left in a man, there is also a ray of light from the divine image is still visible in him. But as he alone can do it. His being as the mediator, however, cannot be severed from his work as the mediator. For this person is not static but dynamic. The element which distinguishes a person from a thing is its reality, its actuality. His being as mediator coincides with his vicarious action and his vicarious suffering. As the substitute, he is the mediator. Today, in a solemn, maybe active self-denial, let's celebrate the vicarious suffering of Christ. Our iniquity was cast on him. Be loved, Lighthouse.